Who were you before you lost your wild self?
That's what we're helping you explore on the Tend Her Wild podcast.
Through questions and tools around how best to listen to your inner voice,
rewild ourselves, and live the most authentic life where we thrive instead of survive.
I'm Betsy.
And I'm Kate.
And we're so glad you've joined us for this episode. Hello, Tend Her Wild podcast listeners. It's Kate and I today talking about a book that both of us read many years ago and circled back around often. And that book is called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. So, hey, Kate.
Hello. This is going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Sometimes you pull books back out and you're like, wow, I needed this.
Right?
Yeah.
I always love to look at, again, what parts I underlined and think about when I read this before, and I'm like, oh, I understood why that part stuck out to me. So
where you were in your life.
Yeah. Well, we're coming around to this because we actually leave in a couple days on retreat. And at the beginning of every retreat, I always pull out the Four Agreements as sort of the foundational agreement that everyone on retreat makes. And what I found after doing this now for the last, 10 years, is that these four precepts that we're going to talk about today and how they impact both of us, when people agree to these, like it all unfolds in such a seamless, beautiful way.
Really
and
does.
I imagine that if our world or our culture or our communities or even our families would agree to these four agreements and maybe live by them, how much more kind and compassionate and flowing the world would be. So
I was thinking that too. Imagine if we woke up and everyone had adopted this and was walking through the world like this.
Yeah.
It would shift everything.
Yeah.
Even a subset of us.
Yeah. And I think a good starter here is to acknowledge that I think he writes in this book too, in the beginning, that it actually it takes effort. There's some work. And I think he even maybe uses the word courage to agree to begin to see the world in a different way than the way we've all been domesticated.
And conditioned.
Conditioned, yeah.
Yeah, and then we were struck by how it really does coincide with so many of the messages and themes of our podcast and what we've learned from everyone's stories. That this is a way for us to show up in the world by returning to our natural instincts and our natural selves. But it takes work. It's not easy.
Yes. And I think that was my aha moment reading this book, 10, 15 years later than maybe when I first read it. As I was looking through it again last night, I realized he is essentially laying out a rewilding process. This is all about rewilding. So the very beginning of the book, before we even go into what the four agreements are, he talks about how from the moment we're born, we get domesticated.
Yes. And when we're young, we know intuitively what we want.
Yes. And so what is domestication? It's simply like we forget who we are and we're told a certain set of rules, a certain set of things to believe. And we learn if we follow those rules, we get rewarded. You and I, the good girls, we learned very quickly how to behave.
Be high achievers, achieve in school. This is the path for you. And looking externally for all that validation, which we all do for many, many years until we say, wait a second, is that really the way?
Exactly.
And then we return.
I want to share something that he wrote early on in the book that I love so much. When we see a child who is 2 or 3, perhaps 4 years old, we find a free human. Why is this human free? Because this human does whatever he or she wants to do. This human is completely wild, just like a flower, a tree, or an animal that has not been domesticated. Wild. And if we observe humans who are 2 years old, we find that most of the time these humans have a big smile on their face and they're having fun. They are exploring the world. They are not afraid to play. Very young children not afraid to express what they feel. They are so loving that if they perceive love, they melt into love. They're not afraid of love at all. This is the description of a normal human being. I mean, how beautiful is that?
It is beautiful. And it is it seems so simple, and yet, because we see it anytime we see a child.
And how drawn we are to watching children.
Yes, exactly. Like I think we know inside of us that's the way it's supposed to be.
Absolutely.
And we kind of give it over. We're like, well, but then you have to grow up.
Yeah.
And I am starting to realize that that's another false narrative.
It's another part of the domestication, that there's a specific way to do things. And so I think early on we have our parents who are usually extremely well-meaning people who are trying to teach us what they learned, which was domestication. So they teach us what's right and wrong. And then eventually we have an inner judger and that shows up berating ourselves for, you didn't do that right. Why did you say that? So it's like our parents initially teach us sort of the domestication, but then we willingly continue it.
Yeah. Do you remember in Iceland when we would be at dinners and the children in Iceland would just be kind of totally wild, free? And we commented like, the children are free to be who they are.
Yes.
It wasn't a shh, be quiet, sit down. These are the rules. It was really striking how they raised their children there.
Well, I remember it at the yoga studio where we practiced in Iceland, and the owner's children was there. And the children, we'd be in Shavasana, and the kids would run through the studio loud and screaming. And for me, I was like, oh my gosh, I would never let this happen in my studio. How many times my children have been in my studio to this day, and I, berate them. Yeah. We need to be quiet. We need to be quiet. Yeah. And you're right. There was a different energy around those children in Iceland of just letting them be who they are versus some conditioning around particular rules.
Yeah. So it did make me think of that.
Yes. So we're going to talk about these 4 agreements. And do you want to talk about where it comes from to begin with? So Don Miguel Ruiz.
Yeah. So this is from the Toltec tribe of indigenous people from Mexico.
And southern Mexico.
Actually before the Aztecs. So it's a very old, I don't know what we'd call it.
We could call it like a wisdom tradition. Yeah. And of course, there's wisdom
spiritual wisdom
all around the world, all the cultures. And they always seem to come from a very similar source. So I would say these 4 agreements will mirror many things that, again, intuitively, deeply, we already know. Yeah. And that's why I think this book resonated so deeply with me. Like on some level, it's like, oh, yeah, thank you for the reminder.
Again, the answers are all inside.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the things from the very beginning that jumps out at me, especially given the times we're living in, is that our view of the world is shaped by how we talk to ourselves.
Yeah.
And right now, I think we're especially living in tumultuous times.
Absolutely.
And so I was thinking, and there's a part in the book about kind of how it's a warrior's way to live and a peaceful warrior, which gave me a little bit of hope that I think we're all maybe looking for like how to navigate this, like, resources, tools, like, what are you doing? How are you getting through things? And I kind of felt like it was a little bit of a tutorial on, okay, this is actually things you have control over.
Yeah.
How you can show up with yourself and with others right now.
Yeah.
And that if more of us were adopting some of this, that's wisdom from back when there probably was a lot of conflict and strife.
Yeah.
It was the way through.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, I think he talks about there, if we're looking to the external world, to politicians, to teachers, towards other people to tell us the answers, that's sometimes the definition of hell. It's like, it's just more domestication. It's more rules. It's more agreements that we're trying to uphold versus, I think, this method that we're going to talk about today, these 4 agreements, if we boil it down to these 4, this is all an inside job.
Inside. Yep.
purely inside. And I agree, Kate, that as the world continues to spin out of control, it sometimes feels like out of control, that what we do have control over is the internal space. And I do think these 4 agreements there's something to them.
Yep. It's a bit of a roadmap.
Right. It is definitely a roadmap.
Hi, I'm Sam, founder of the Local Hub. When I moved to Iowa City, I felt like a tourist, and I'm sure you can relate if you've ever moved somewhere new or just haven't explored your city in years. Supporting local has never been more important, and the Local Hub makes it simple. It's a community-first way to uncover the local businesses, events, and hidden spots that make an area feel like home. If you're in the Iowa City area, you'll find us online, in print, and on social media, all designed to keep you in the loop about what's happening here. Visit thelocalhub-ic.com and start living like a local.
All right, so let's go do the first one.
Okay.
And the first one is be impeccable with your word. And Don Miguel Ruiz writes that this is actually the most important one and the most difficult one for us to honor. So if we can get this one down, it is sort of the foundation. And so what does it mean? I mean, essentially, if we're boiled down to very simplistic language, it's not talking bad to yourself. Mm-hmm. And when we don't talk bad to ourselves, then we don't talk bad about others. And it's taking responsibility for our actions, but not judging or blaming ourselves. So again, we've been domesticated to be hard on ourselves. Right. As children, we were punished for things. So now we punish ourselves for things. And it's getting out from underneath that need to judge ourselves and, really talking from a place of kindness and love towards ourselves, which then means we do that for other people.
I kind of summed it up for myself, and it's like taking care of yourself with your words.
Yeah.
And, there's all that self-care talk out there, but rarely do we say, it really is about how you talk to yourself.
Yeah. And words are so powerful. We all know words can take us down or they can build us up. Just last night, literally, I was with a friend who said, my PTSD. And I was like, I'm like, can I just share something with you? You're identifying that you are one with PTSD. What if the PTSD? And she's like, oh, yeah. Again, that idea of like my cancer, my problem, when we take ownership with it, then it becomes us. It becomes us. Whereas we are not our divorce. We are not our cancer. We are not our PTSD. We are not, so it's just small little pieces of our language that I think we can be really aware of.
Yeah. One of the other lessons in this is what we tolerate from others becomes what we tolerate from ourselves. So there's also a connection to other people and how we, we're talking to ourselves can impact then what we
tolerate from others. Yeah.
From others, right? Because, if I talk to myself that way, then it's okay for my spouse or a friend or someone to talk to me that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's another kind of eye-opening.
Well, the part that for me in this one jumped out so much, this idea of be impeccable with your word, is gossip. And he writes that it's black magic at its worst. It is pure poison, but it has become a main form of communication because it is how we often feel close to each other. And so it's a way of connecting. And we've all been there. I mean, there's not one of us who hasn't gossiped. Or in fact, I looked this up research-wise.
Yeah.
The average person spends almost an hour a day gossiping.
What? Chanel, is that right?
An hour a day, 52 minutes a day gossiping.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and social media has probably given us a whole nother avenue to gossip if we're being honest.
Exactly.
Put it all out there.
Yeah. But what I think I got so much from this is the idea that it is like pure poison. Mm-hmm. Because even if we're gossiping about someone else as a way to feel closer to the person we're gossiping to, it is putting such poison out into the ethers that then is going to come back around and impact us. So this is one thing that I have been really watching in myself. I have an older friend who talks a lot about her commitment to honesty. So I've been really impacted by her. And then I read the book, The Integrity Diet by Martha Beck several years ago, which is also about the same idea. And I know Martha Beck spent an entire year where she didn't tell one lie. And she lost a lot of people along the way because I think most of us are, I myself, I see this in myself, will tell little white lies to keep myself safe or to protect someone or, instead of saying, I'm not coming tonight because I don't feel like hanging out with you. Oh, and say stuff like, my kid is sick or
because, and really that comes down to not having the relationship with yourself to be able to have those boundaries, right?
Right.
For yourself. So we create other things to make it more acceptable.
Yeah.
That you're not coming instead of, I don't have the energy for this.
Exactly.
Well, no, So
so I'm very aware of just watching so much about not talking about other people, not gossiping about people you don't know, celebrities, or like, why are we doing this?
I know. To make ourselves feel better, I think.
Yeah.
Or somehow to connect with whoever we're gossiping with, I guess. But also I think it starts so young, right?
It does.
Especially with women. It's that age of like competing for, probably, male attention at its essence in middle school, but competing in general as girls. I mean, we definitely do that more.
Yeah.
And
although in my research, it shows, I thought too, that women would be gossiping more than men. No, it's pretty equal. And men actually gossip more at work than women do.
Really?
According to this research. And it's from a good journal article. It's Social, Psychological, and Personality Science. So that kind of blew me away too, that it is kind of a human quality for us to talk about other people. So
being impeccable with your words is the very first agreement. Yeah. And to have that agreement with yourself, wow, you have to really be tuned in and pause before you speak.
Yeah. And in many ways, being so conscious of not allowing negativity to spew out of our own mouth, whether that's negativity towards ourselves or that's negativity towards someone else. And again, this is the hardest one. It's the hardest one and the most important one.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it.
Yeah. And I think one of the things I picked up was kind of just being curious. So like if you're in an argument and you want to fire something back, pausing and then maybe asking a question instead. So often questions can like you can flip it by just saying, tell me, what is it you mean by that, instead of and we'll get into assuming. It kind of connects those two, but just this idea of like, how often do we just fire back at people when we're in a heated argument and no one feels good afterward, and you don't really, it just doesn't serve anybody. So this is a tough one, and it's tough right now when there's so much to talk about.
There's so much to talk about, but the more we can not talk bad to ourselves and not talk bad towards others sets us free. So, all right, agreement number 2.
Don't take anything personally. Wow.
Yeah. This is a big one too.
Yeah. This is a little like the let them theory that's kind of out there right now, Mel Robbins, but so many times this plays into our low self-worth,
Yeah.
We think everything people are doing must be about me, right? Losing the job must be about me.
Yeah.
Not about decisions the company's making. We take everything on.
Yeah. And nothing other people do is because of us.
Nothing.
Everything. The way people respond to us, the way people treat us, it's all about them. But this is a really hard one to fathom because, again, we've been so conditioned and so tuned into why did that person look at me that way? Why did that person say that to me? It's all about their internal spaces, which are then being reflected onto us.
Right.
But this is a hard one because, of course, if someone says to you, Kate, you're just the best, right?
Yeah.
That
would
good,
feel good.
But then that's all about their internal space. They're in a good place. Kate, you're the best. They're in a bad place. Kate, you're horrible.
Right.
Or I think this is the most complicated one. Kate, what you said hurt me. I mean, we can really personalize that versus, well, what I said just triggered something in you that is unhealed, that is hurt in you. Right. So, but we can see how easily we all fall into this domesticated trap of taking things personally.
Yeah. And we do this all the time, right? And think about how much mental space we spend
worrying about what other people think.
Which is really about giving people power over you.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of having that internal dialogue that says, no, that was not about me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to carry that.
Yeah.
But God, we carry around a lot of other people's shit.
Yeah, we do. It's coming to me right now. I'll never forget this. This was a long time ago. This is probably 10 years ago. There was someone who shall remain unnamed, but someone with a lot of power in our community, a lot of power, a lot of money, a lot of vision, well known. And we got on the conversation about this book. Super briefly, it was in a hallway. And this person said to me, I read that book a lot, but the second agreement, take nothing personally, that's my hardest one. And I was shocked because, again, this person and all that they've done in the world, I would have assumed that they would have not really cared what other people thought to be able to have done what they have done. But it showed me their own humanity and their own humanness. So I think no matter where you are, this one is so challenging to really get to a place of not being impacted by the good things people say about you and not being impacted by the bad things people say about you. And instead, again, if we're being impeccable with our word and being kind to ourselves, then it feeds into this one of...
And they're all kind of connected.
They're all connected.
In a way.
In fact, Ruiz says that if you practice the first one, be impeccable with your word and don't take anything personally, you will break 75% of the teeny tiny agreements that have kept you trapped in hell. 75%. So if we could just do 2 agreements today.
That's right.
Be impeccable with your word.
With those 2.
Take nothing personally.
Yeah.
That'll do a lot for us.
Wow, 75%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And allowing yourself to, we have feelings about things. I think that's the other thing I was thinking about. Someone can say something and you take it personally, then you kind of have to have this discussion with yourself, right? I don't think I am going to take that personally. That really wasn't about me. We have to it's not automatic.
No.
It's a consciousness about it somehow of okay, I hear that. I feel this way, but I'm then, allowing your mind to remember it's not about you.
Nothing is about you.
It's about them and then move through it. Right. So this isn't we fix something and then you never do it. It's every time there will constantly be tests, I guess is what I'm saying for these things.
Yes. In fact, he says to put this one on your refrigerator to remind you all the time.
I think it is.
Take nothing personal.
Yeah. Think about everything right now, how we are on social media and can take things personally. Because we're constantly commenting on people's.
Here's the perfect setup for this agreement number 2 is you're going to have great things. You have lots of likes and people, I totally agree with you. Or you're going to have the random negative comments.
Yep.
So maybe this agreement number 2 is perfect if you're busy on social media. If you can really hold to this, take nothing personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So number 3.
Assumption or agreement number 3. Don't make assumptions. So this is all about the fact that, in essence, we actually don't ask for enough clarification. We don't ask enough questions. We don't communicate enough about things, but we create a whole storyline in our head about what we believe someone's text meant or what someone's comment meant or why someone hasn't called us back. Have you ever had that? You're like, this person has not called me back. They must think this because of this. We create all these dramas in our headspace versus just checking it out.
Yeah.
Asking the question.
I had a teacher in middle school that I remember being taught, don't assume, it makes an ass
out of you and me. Yes.
And that stuck with me. I think as a middle school teacher, he taught us that because he did recognize that we were all making assumptions about things. And that was the lesson that stuck. He taught me. He was a history teacher, but he did teach me that.
Yeah.
This really, to me, the flip side is fear. Like we have fear about so many things because we create the story in our head, right? In the most negative idea of why that person didn't call or why we never heard back or why somebody has ghosted us, right? We have this, it brings up all this fear in us that's deep-seated fear of maybe not being accepted or wanted. And so it really, by not making assumptions and just being curious, it kind of can move you out of the fear-based thinking.
Yeah. And I think this one shows up almost universally in our relationships. And the fact that my inner world is not the same as Kate's inner world, is not the same as my children's inner world. And so we make these assumptions that everyone is seeing life the way we see it. And we have no idea. I think that if I look at my own patterning, I don't ask enough questions. I do make assumptions and don't ask enough questions because I don't want to put people out. Like, I'm like, oh, that'd be so annoying to hear from me. Did you mean this? I'm just trying to clarify.
No, but
and so like, I don't want to waste their time or my time. And so it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Because I do have a friend who she asks incessant questions. She's always clarifying things. But I love it because she's so clear.
Yeah.
She doesn't let anything lie. She really doesn't make assumptions. She's always checking things out. And so there's just a clarity that wherever you stand with Allie is where you stand because she's always asking questions.
Don't you think though, I think about when we were little girls, I sometimes feel like we were taught like, stop.
To tone down the questions.
Enough with the questions. Or, I think we were domesticated out of that natural inquisitiveness that is of a child.
Yeah.
And so the adults that have hung on to that probably do have a lot
childlike energy.
Yeah. And less fear because they are constantly being inquisitive about things and they don't have the same worry when they're constantly checking, totally checking in or asking clarifying questions. So again, that's a childlike state that we've moved away from that we need to come back to.
A lot of this is about, I think of the rewilding process a lot is about returning to the natural state, which is those early first 10 years.
Yeah.
Who were you? Yeah. All right. Agreement number 4.
Always do your best.
Yeah.
This is such a sweet one too, I think. We're so hard on ourselves. And to me, this goes straight to perfectionism. My God, how are we conditioned into that? And how that follows us through our lives and how many things we don't do or chances we don't take or risks we don't take because of perfectionism.
Yeah.
And that's, it's not just women, but it hits women harder, I think.
Yeah. And what I love about always do your best is that this is a moment to moment, day by day thing. This isn't that, some days our best is way less than other days because we're underslept and underfed and we don't have the energy. So we just show up and we do our best. But the other piece around the nuance of this one that I like is that there are also days that we try too hard. So he points out very clearly, no more, no less. So do your best. Don't do more than your best and don't do less than your best. Just do your best. And that idea of the overachieving, the over-efforting, expending so much energy, that actually in the end is counter, right? It actually harms you on some level.
And I think you do tend to make more mistakes when you're over-efforting.
Yeah.
And you also just do more than you need to. Someone told me once, I don't remember, it was a coach, but she said, you should fall into bed tired and fulfilled. Like today, I accomplished what I need to. I've used up my energy well, basically, versus I'm crawling into my bed.
So exhausted.
I can barely even, keep my eyes open. So that is.
Yeah. I want to share this just a little story about this, doing your best. This is about a man who went to a Buddhist temple to find a master. And he asked, if I meditate 4 hours a day, master, how long will it take me to transcend? And the master said, if you meditate 4 hours a day, perhaps you'll transcend in 10 years. Thinking he could do better, the man then said, oh, master, what if I meditated 8 hours a day? Then how long will it take me to transcend? The master said, well, if you meditate 8 hours a day, perhaps you'll transcend in 20 years. But why will it take me longer if I meditate more? And the master replied, you're not here to sacrifice your joy or your life. You're here to live, to be happy, and to love. If you can do your best in 2 hours of meditation, but you spend 8 hours, you will only grow tired, miss the point, and you won't enjoy your life.
Oh,
perfect, right?
Yeah.
For we little over-efforters.
Mm-hmm. Which is, what leads to burning out and having to step away. And I think so often that can derail us from our purpose too, because we're so in it and over efforting and hyper, we're just hyper focused on what we're doing that we miss the forest for the trees sometimes. I know I did looking back so many times.
Yeah.
Because I just kept trying to please the external world.
Yeah.
At the expense of my own health and energy and
well-being.
Well-being.
Okay, so of these 4 agreements, which one do you think is most applicable to you, or the one that you really are wanting to, commit to or settle into a little bit more?
Yeah. Probably don't take anything personally. I think I have still work to do around. I'll always have work to do around it, but it's 1 and 2 for me. They go together. I think the impeccable with your words. My early career of being a lawyer is basically having a voice for other people. So being impeccable with my words was kind of the art of what I was doing. I had a limited time to state the case or to make the point. And so I feel like I was trained in that, but I don't know that I've really, I feel like I'm kind of coming back around to that in this new career that I'm in, because it was required of me then. And now I realize that I need to do that for myself, right? Yeah. With my own voice and in my own life. And, I find myself saying less sometimes. I know it's funny as I sit here on a podcast, but in daily life, I am trying to listen more and pause. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many times I type things and then I delete them, right? I'm pausing more. So that to me is part of being impeccable with my words. And then, that leads into this idea of not taking things personally.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes when we know we're going to put something out there, we will get blowback.
Yeah.
And there are times when it's so important to me. It's so like that I recognize that may happen, but it's important for me to do. Yeah. And there's other times when I don't. Yeah. I don't choose to do that, and I allow myself to just pause and so I would say 1 and 2. And when you said the 75% thing, I'm like, well,
there you go.
Yeah, that is
a lot of bang for your buck there to get those 2 down.
It is. How about you?
Yeah, I actually I think it goes back to this first one, being impeccable with your word. Yeah, using my energy in the direction of truth and love. And I think reading this book again, the second time, it's about truth and love and kindness towards self. And I think coming out of some really hard chapters, really hard years, I definitely could see the amount of anger and vitriol that I was directing towards myself. Yeah. Right. I was not being impeccable with my word towards myself. I was being angry and judgmental and mean and ashamed and all of that about stuff that was totally out of my control in many ways. But I was needing some control over it. So I thought, if I just blame Betsy and I try to make her even, more on top of things and more perfect, then I'll have some control over this situation. And so, I think this is my commitment to being impeccable with just a kinder voice towards myself, more compassion for my own humanity and my own mistakes, and And then I think being as truthful with myself as possible, because of course, I think we all want to be truthful with other people in our life and loved ones. But like, I realized too how many little lies I tell myself just to try to, make it through or convince myself of certain things. And so I guess I need to start with myself, being so truthful, so real, so raw with myself, which then I hope then trickles out to me being able to afford that with anyone and everyone else in my life. Yeah, I really want to live from that space of love and compassion and not, I do think that negativity is such a virus for our mind, whether we're consuming it through social media or we have that one friend who's always bitching about something. And, I just want to be more conscious of like not having myself in situations that continue to infect my own mind with negativity.
Right.
Because I want to be impeccable with my own mind.
Yeah.
Because then I'm at my best for my children and the world and my work and all of that. So,
yeah.
So number one is the first one I'm working on.
Okay. Well, and we'll check
Pinky
in
promise.
with each other.
We'll check in with each other on how this goes.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a great ending to this. Don Miguel Ruiz. He says to be a Toltec is a way of life. And again, this is the Toltec tradition. So doing these 4 agreements, it's a way of life. It is a way of life where you have your own truth and you live your own truth. This is all that matters is our truth and we're living our own truth. He writes, a Toltec becomes wise, becomes wild, and then becomes free again. So we were free when we were 2.
Yep.
Then we have to go through a whole process, which we're all in. Then we become wise and then we become wild. The rewilding here. And then we get to be free again. Yeah. So this rewilding process, there's inherent freedom that comes with it when we're impeccable with our word, don't take things personally, we don't make assumptions.
Always do our best.
And we always do our best.
I love that full circle. And I'm still just so struck by how this fits into our discussions about midlife rewilding, especially for all the women we've talked to. And I think about these agreements, and once you are working, and it's only important to work on them for yourself, but I think you do start to notice others that are impeccable with their word, or others that, they always show up. They do their best. It feels, but this is really about all of us focusing on our own internal work.
Yeah.
And when that happens, the outward world improves, right?
Yeah.
It's like cleaning up and working on these things for ourselves. We become peaceful warriors. We become the change we want to see in the world. So thanks for this conversation.
Yeah. Thanks, Kate. Thanks for joining us today. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, rate, and review. Come back and rewild with us again next week.